welcome. Today, we'll break down an 8K MMR Pudge's Position 4 gameplay. And this is Yapsor. So the first thing we see Pudge do is place a ward in a location where he would have full vision over enemy heroes, so that he can hook whoever is misstepping out of position. As for items, nothing of note here, just your regular boots for better positioning through movement speed and some tangos for basic lane sustain. Now, we can see that while contesting the rune, the Pudge does not skill either spell, because the outcome of the contest will depend on the positioning of enemy heroes. For example, if Bane wastes his disable on the Nature's Prophet, the Prophet can use one of his strengths to take away the Nightmare, and then Pudge can immediately skill Rot, and two of those can just run Bane down and kill him. The enemy knows that, the enemy plays safe, so that doesn't happen. But the threat was there, so our offlane duo was successful in picking up the rune. Against different kind of setup, the Pudge would most likely have skilled Hook and attempted to either snatch the rune or grab an enemy hero. Although worth noting here that their safe lane Void could have skilled Q and still attempted to take the rune and just time walk back to position again. And now for the laning. Since Pudge doesn't really want to trade against Void 1 vs 1 because of the stat difference, his laning goal will be to get Bane out of position. As soon as Bane is alone and doesn't have advantage, Pudge can just right click him. He has a better trade advantage, and whenever Bane retreats, the Pudge will attempt to hook to continue the harassment process. With a good enough displacement, the Pudge coupled with Nature's Prophet can deal significant amount of damage. And this is the basis for the first few minutes. The Pudge has his vision set on Bane, will follow him around, trade normally or attempt hooks, and will always attempt to prevent pulling. So, while Pudge's strengths is trading one-on-one versus enemy supports and displacing weaker heroes, he cannot help much in a 2 vs 2 situation. So you always gotta be mindful of your lane partner's status. Like in this case, yes, we have initiated a trade, but Bane together with Void were a little bit too much for Nature's Prophet, so in the end this trade wasn't as worthwhile as it could have been. As the timer approaches minute 4, a good roamer should consider going to mid lane and help gain his mid laner advantage over the enemy one. In this case, Pudge was successful in securing the rune. Since Kankan doesn't have much use from the arcane, Pudge keeps it for himself. Back into lane, the Pudge does not want to trade versus Void, so he's looking for Bane. The Bane isn't there, so Pudge moves away to do some roaming. First objective on the list is securing minute 5 runes, the second is to help the mid laner again. While his team were perfectly capable of dealing with the bat themselves, in most cases, if you can set up a good hook for a Pudge, that usually means a dead opposing mid laner. So, most often, with the good draft, you should have good setups whenever you come out to roam.
Well, back to my bad ways.
Again, the Pudge is around for the minute 6 rune, and this time he secures it for his mid laner. Now that he's earned enough gold for Tranquil Boots, the Pudge can grab some farm in between roaming. The easiest target is the small camp. It's fast to clear, not a lot of HP, not a lot of resistances, and the Tranquils will heal Pudge right up. At this point for the offlane, since this pair of heroes, a Prophet and a Pudge, cannot prevent Void from farming, the Pudge is simply gonna let Prophet farm around the offlane himself, while the Prophet will most likely just return to the lane to depush, and this way maintain protection on the lane. The Pudge himself will transition into a full-time roamer, looking for where he can make the most impact.
Wait, maybe they're not actually damaging it.
Saves like these on the mid laner or the safe laner are crucial for maintaining the early game farm. And unfortunately, it was unsuccessful here, and since there was nothing else for the Pudge to do, he simply teleports out. And this is a classic example of lower position heroes taking whatever farm they can. In this case, both Pudge and the Wind Ranger are occupying the mid lane while the designated players are out of the lane for now. And as the lane owner returns, Pudge can roam around elsewhere or maybe try to set up a kill.
Dire's middle tower is being attacked.
The next course of action will of course be present for the objectives, in this case minute 10 rune. The hook, the displacement of heroes, will always be useful, but since Pudge doesn't have much outside of the hook for the early game, he will have to rely on his teammates and the number of the enemy team currently present for the actual team fight.
Dire's middle tower is being attacked.
Time is money. Beep, beep.
Will be forever alone.
In between objectives and taking an occasional camp, the Pudge can also look for opportunities for out-of-fog hooks. In this case, an unsuspecting Wind Ranger is getting snatched under the tower.
Dire's structures have been fortified. Dire's middle tower
The Pudge is finally level 6, and now, in addition to displacing heroes, he can also lock them down, which doubles his potential. We can see the first thing he does is he goes to the offlane, because now he actually has kill potential on the Void. If Void is low, the hook, coupled with the ultimate, and probably the ultimate of Nature's Prophet, can reliably take even the bigger heroes down. So now, the Pudge is playing more aggressively, because he knows he has way more kill potential than one level before. Naturally, he still doesn't want to 1 versus 2, so he's kind of baiting his opponents into unfavorable positions. And sure enough, the enemy team follows him, while allies give a few teleporting rotations. Just by being in a top lane right now, and threatening hooks and disables, he discourages the enemy team from engaging, and basically secures the tower. Once again secures the rune, and now is a good time for a smoke gank. The top tower is down, they have access to the enemy jungle, they are starting to take over the map.
Dire's middle tower is under siege.
And now the entirety of Pudge's team is fat enough to go 5 vs 5, which also means that on bigger skirmishes, where one could expect Void's Chronosphere, the Pudge will be able to mostly always save his target, essentially countering the hero. Since the entire Radiant team came out of the leading stage ahead, the Pudge doesn't feel the need to build any defensive items such as the Force Staff. Instead, he goes straight Blink to double down on his offensive disabling capabilities. Naturally, Force Staff comes next. And from this point onward, all Pudge has to do is play around his team, initiate fights, which Blink allows him to do plenty, and just let his team follow up. With the ever-increasing map control, the match is pretty much secured. So, I'm gonna leave you with the rest of the gameplay. Thank you for watching, good luck.
Dire's middle tower is being attacked. Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower. Dire's bottom tower is under siege. Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
The seeds of fortune.
Did you want something?
Radiant's top tower is Dire's middle tower is under siege. Dire's Dire's middle barracks has been destroyed. Dire's middle tower has
Pull roots and run.
Dire's middle tower has fallen. Dire's middle tower is under attack. It'll probably be fine.